What's up, guys? It's your girl Felicia. Thank you so much for joining. Now, just getting right into it, this is probably going to hurt, and I'm gonna tell you why. Everybody gets a bad hand every now and again, but if you keep coming up with the same thing over and over and over again, it's really time to shuffle the deck. It's really time to look at ourselves. Like, what is it that I'm doing that keeps attracting the same thing? What is it that I'm not doing that is keeping me blocked from getting the things that I want to get? And, a lot of times we quit too soon on our journey of discovery because a lot of the things that we want are right on the other side of what we have. We just have to keep going. There's a whole lot of books out there and a lot of things that we could study and a lot of things that we could dive into, take deep dives into a lot of these YouTube videos and books and just all of the things that help us with our learning about ourselves. But if we don't put those things into action, we're still going to keep coming up with the same thing. So when it comes time to shuffling that deck, the first thing that has to be shuffled is ourselves. We've got to start looking at ourselves. We've got to start looking at ourselves different. We've got to start moving different. We've got to start making different decisions. We've got to start advocating for a more prosperous life, a more abundant life, and really looking into what is it that we've been doing that has been keeping us from getting it. Those are the things we don't want to look at, because guess what? It might bring up some old memories that we're not necessarily prepared to deal with. We might have some universal truths that we've been ignoring. There's just some self-reflection that we have to do that is actually hard. Looking at ourselves is hard. We don't want to do that. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to lay blame. It's so much easier to title this, that, or the other as the culprit and not look at ourselves, because that's where the hard work begins. Because if you think about it, change is really not something that people want to do. Now, we say that's what we want. We say we want something different. We say we want a bigger, more beautiful life. We say we want abundance. We say we want to be able to travel and do all of these things. And we say that we want something that's healthy and loving and, all of those things. But then what about the work that goes into making sure that you attract that? We have to make sure that we are in a receiving posture. We've got to make sure that we're in a mode of learning and gravitating towards what's good and what's happy, and leaving all of those old habits and all of those old attachments behind. And we don't necessarily want to do that. Why? Because what we know, we tend to do well. We tend to do all of the old things well. When you start to look into your newness or try to become new, you look around in that picture, you're creating this movie in your head. And then what's really scary is that when you're looking at this movie in your head, some of those old characters are no longer in the plot. And now it's like, okay, so how do I navigate this newness? How do I navigate these new characters? How do I navigate this new plot? When in actuality, the how we do it is not necessarily what we need to focus on. We need to focus on moving towards it. And a lot of people don't realize, when you start moving towards the light, eventually you become the light. And everybody's attracted to the light. Good or bad, everybody is attracted to the light. So now we have to decide, who do we let into that space? Who do we illuminate with what we have? And those decisions are tough because, when God gives you an assignment, He's giving it to you. When He's giving you a trajectory, He's giving it to you. But of course, we want to do like we always do. We want to take Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Jane. And He's basically saying, hey, I didn't call them for this. I called you. So until you stop showing up with all of this baggage, no, I'm not going to give you what you want. No, I'm not going to give you something that you can't handle because of all of these things that you've got around you. Now, all you're going to do is misuse the blessing. You're going to misuse the gift. Or if it's not you misusing it, it might be the people around you misusing it. So we've got to think about all of those things. And yes, it's tough. Yes, it's going to hurt. But it's time to take inventory of where we are, who we are, what we're doing, and who we're doing it with. If we want to grow and go into this big, beautiful, abundant life that we say we want. In other words, if we say we want that, then we've got to be about that. And being about that means taking the necessary steps to be that. And that's what hurts. Taking the necessary steps. We think we're just going to wake up one day and automatically it's going to be everything that we want it to be. No, we've actually got to invest in that. We've actually got to take the time to be that. We've actually got to figure out how to grow that. And again, what we already know, we know how to do that well. We know how to do the status quo well. But doing something different, that begins to get a little scary. It's a little spooky when you're looking around the corners and trying to figure out where's the boogeyman and when is he going to jump out. But again, that goes back to those old thought patterns and those old habits. Because why are we even thinking that something is going to jump out from behind the corner? Why do we even think that something is going to pop up and just ruin our good time? As opposed to just focusing on creating that good time, creating that good life, going for what we know, being who we know we are, becoming that light. No, it's not easy. No, it doesn't always feel good. Yes, it's a hard truth. And yes, at times it's gonna hurt, but we have to do it. If what we say we want is actually what we want, because we can't speak a thing and then do a different thing. We can't pray a thing and then do a different thing. We can't beckon a thing and then act out a different thing. We actually have to be what we say we want. So if we're going to be about our Father's business, if we're going to take care of our business, if we're going to become the people that we want to be, we're going to have to look at those hard truths. We're going to have to answer the hard questions. We're going to have to look in the mirror and get tough with ourselves so that what we have in our lives, we are actually attracting what we are, what we deserve, what we should have, and getting what we want. So yeah, it's gonna hurt, but it's necessary. Good luck, y'all. Love y'all.